Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Today's guest is Lauren Bernick. She is the founder of Well Elephant. She's been on the show before. She did an amazing cooking demo, and she's going to do another one today of some of her very favorite sauces. Please welcome her back to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I can't told you before. I love it. Your hair is amazing. I'm sure you hear that all the time.
Thank you. You're so sweet. I honestly probably lost half of it during the pandemic, just from that underlying, I wouldn't say anxiety, but that low level of blah. And I was really glad that I had a lot to start with but now it's starting to come back. Now I have all these crazy little sprouts everywhere.
I just love naturally curly hair. I actually have hair like yours if I were to ever grow it. But once you go short, it's very hard to grow it out because you go through that inconvenient stage that you just, after a while, you just give up. But I could look like you.
Well, I love your hair. I wish I could wear mine short. You have to have that gorgeous face and the gorgeous
it's so thank you so much. But anyway, Well Elephant, tell me about the name of your business. It's so interesting.
Oh, thank you. So I got the name from, I've always loved elephants. And the thing about elephants is that they are just this beautiful community. And I feel like they're just these big, beautiful herbivores. Nobody ever asks them where they get their protein. They're supported by their community. And I like to say, and you are too. There's videos of a baby elephant crying or stuck in a well or whatever. I've seen all these videos, and the whole herd just comes over to the rescue of the baby. When an elephant dies, everybody comes over and touches it with their trunk and pays their respect. They're just beautiful. And well comes from, I just want everybody to be well. So.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love elephants too. And nobody ever asks them where they get their protein, do they?
No, never. So yeah, they get it directly from the source, not from the middleman. So
absolutely. I had a wonderful foundation on that rescues elephants, and hopefully I'll have them on again because, in some countries they're used to work.
I know. Cher has that documentary. I don't know if it's out, but The Loneliest Elephant, where they just rescued this poor elephant that was all by itself for all these years, and they're very social. So that's horrific.
Yeah, they are amazing. And so you're going to make sexy beast sauces.
Yeah. I'm going to make elephant's favorite peanut sauce. What does an elephant like to eat? And queso. And so I follow a very low fat, whole food, plant-based diet. I do Dr. Esselstyn's prevent and reverse heart disease diet. So the fact that I can make a peanut sauce on this is kind of amazing because I don't really eat nuts, but I found a loophole that I'll share with you, that I make it out of peanut butter powder. So that has peanut butter powder has 2 tablespoons. In 2 tablespoons, it only has 50 calories and 1.5 grams of fat in the particular brand that I found. In real peanut butter, for 2 tablespoons, it's 180 calories and 15 grams of fat. So would definitely not be something I would eat. So I'll show you that. I'm going to start with my queso, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, please. Where do you live? In Detroit?
I live in Austin, Texas.
Wait a minute. You're involved with PBNSG in Detroit.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning them. PBNSG, for those of you who don't know, Plant-Based Nutrition Support Group, is such a phenomenal organization, and you should go check them out, pbnsg.org. They have a great membership. They just support people who want to do a whole food plant-based diet. And I am a volunteer for them. I run their heart disease group. So they have all these specialized little groups, and I've been in their cookbook, and they've just been really kind to me and had me in all different capacities. And last time, you're right, they had me on your show so I could do something out of their cookbook. But yeah, so they're based in Michigan, but I'm in Austin. And in this day of Zoom, I guess it doesn't matter where you are.
That's true. Do you get to hang out with Rip Esselstyn or any of the other Austin plant-based peeps?
I don't know Rip. I've met him before, but I've met Adam Sudd and who else is here? Lisa Rice. I don't know if you know her from Kitchen Plantastic. She's amazing.
Doesn't Hannah Kaminsky live in
Yes.
Austin now?
You know what? Hannah Kaminsky is in Austin. She is a fabulous dessert chef, and I had her to my house. She is like a daughter. You know, she's just precious. I had her over to my house, and she brought chocolate chip cookies because she's an amazing dessert chef.
She did the photos for my next book.
She did?
Yeah, she's
really
talented.
unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I've never seen an eye like her for styling. Yep.
She's very talented. Yeah, so I do know her. Who else? There's a lot of people in Austin.
That's a great place to be for plant-based peeps.
We have a lot of restaurants, and a lot of restaurants where you can actually, I wouldn't say a lot where you can get a meal without oil, a whole food plant-based meal without oil, but more and more. And, you know, they're pretty open to it. Like, I've traveled a lot, and some cities are just like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. You're not getting oil free here. But Austin is pretty open to it. And we have the ATX Food Co., the food truck. They're associated with Dr. Khan, who's also in Michigan, but they make all oil-free food here. We have Casa de Luz. We have a number of really amazing restaurants.
That Casa de Luz sounds amazing.
Have you've never been?
I haven't, but I love the idea of it.
Oh, it's macrobiotic. It's unbelievable. You need to come. We'll go. It's really good.
I've been to Austin, and I went to the Optimum Health Institute there, and I went to the world's largest Whole Foods.
Oh, wow. So did you go to so is that the one on 5th Street? And
you know the one where John Mackey has his, like, the flagship store, that it took like an hour to get through.
Yeah, it's 2 stories. That one, yeah. You can put your grocery cart on the little escalator thing. It clips in. It's pretty cool.
That was a great store. So you're lucky to have all those resources there.
Yes, definitely. It helps a lot to be able to, you know, eat a whole food plant-based diet to stay compliant, because like I said, I've been to some places where, particularly, I remember Boston. Boston was really like, you know, sorry, we're not making you any kind of oil-free meal here, girly. You know, forget it.
I know, so, exactly. Well, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
I love your backsplash. Was that the same kitchen you were in before? It looks different.
Wow. No, it's the same kitchen. I've lived here for 2 years. This is our empty nest home we built a couple years ago. So I got to design my dream kitchen. So, yeah.
It sure is a beauty.
Thank you. So you're in California, right?
Yeah, I'm near Palm Springs.
Oh, nice. I was there not too long ago. Love it.
You didn't even look me up. How do you like
I didn't know you were there.
Okay, well, now you do next time you come.
I do. Well, let me get started making the queso, I guess. I love this recipe because a lot of the quesos are really labor intensive. I've seen ones with like carrots and potatoes and all those things. I've seen a lot with cashews, and I don't eat cashews, again, because they're pretty high in fat, and I try and stay away from that. So I wanted to just make something that was really yummy, really easy. And because, like we said, I'm in Austin, Texas, I go out for Mexican food all the time. And I don't like to feel deprived. I made one of my emails about this to my subscribers the other day. I call it purse food. If I'm going somewhere and I know I can't eat the food, I kind of sneak in a little version of my own. Now, I tip generously. I support the restaurant where I can. I have a glass of wine or a dinner salad or something like that. But if I'm going out for Mexican food, I first bring my own chips, which I do organic corn tortillas. I have my oven heated up to 400. I'm just going to throw these in so they can cook while we talk. And just throw them directly on the rack. Do not put them on a pan. Don't try to get fancy. Just throw them in the oven, and let me set my timer because I'm notorious for burning these things. Hang on. So I cook them at 400 degrees for 11 minutes. Start. Okay. That will save me the embarrassment of burning those on TV on your show. Okay, so organic corn tortillas. I like to get organic corn products because if you don't, then they're genetically modified, and genetically modified things are made to withstand being sprayed with a lot of herbicide. And I just tried to avoid that. So organic corn tortillas, 400 degrees, throw them in on the rack. you're going to have to test out your oven 10 to 11 minutes. So set your timer. Now, if you're having like company over and you want to be really fancy, you can brush them down with lime, salt them up with, not salt, but like chili powder and garlic powder, and, you know, make them kind of fancy. You can even cut them with a pizza cutter, make them into triangles. But to tell you the truth, most of the time I just, like I just did, throw them in the oven. All right, so let's make the queso. It's super easy. I just do, this feeds a lot of people. I might even just half this recipe today, but normally it's a cup of nutritional yeast. I'm gonna half this recipe and do a half a cup because I don't wanna have to eat a cup of queso. All right, so let's just say a cup of nutritional yeast. I like this brand called Sari, S-A-R-I.
Yeah, it's a very good tasting one, and it's non-fortified.
Exactly. I order it on Amazon. I don't know if, can you get it other places, or do you order it?
I've only seen it on Amazon.
Yeah, so that's my favorite brand. It's a little pricey, but it lasts a long time. I've had this forever. If that's not in your price range, I think it's $30 for like a big bag. If you can't do that, there's all kinds of different brands, but like Chef AJ was saying, sometimes they're fortified with, you know, these different vitamins that are kind of weird, and it can also be genetically modified. Nutritional yeast has nothing to do with yeast, really. It's actually grown on a sugar beet. But anyway, it looks like this is just yellow, and it has like a nutty cheese flavor. And so I'm halving this recipe, like I said. So normally I would do a cup of nutritional yeast and a cup of water. I'm just doing a half a cup of each. I would normally do a cup of salsa. I'm just doing a half a cup of salsa. And I don't know why I even measured that. I usually just throw it in. And then pickled jalapenos. And I love these. I do not go easy on these. I usually use, you know, a quarter to a half a cup.
Where do you get the pickled jalapenos? Is it a specific brand?
I mean, this is just like a Rio Luna. It's an organic brand. I just get it at my grocery store. You can get them anywhere. You can get them at Whole Foods. You can, I'm sure they have them at your local grocery store. But they're good. So they're not like, can you see them? They're not like blasting spicy hot. They're kind of tamped down because they're pickled, but it gives it a little kick. If you don't like spicy, you know, you can go easy on that. Do some garlic powder and some chili powder. Okay, I just put cayenne pepper in there. That's going to be lovely. Let's pretend I didn't do that. I thought that was chili powder. So that should be chili powder. This is going to be spicy. And then like I would say a tablespoon of white or flour, and I use oat flour, and that's just to thicken it up a little bit. Where's my, and you just kind of whisk it all up. I can't believe I just threw cayenne pepper in there instead of chili powder.
Uh-oh, that's gonna be a hot one.
Oh well, smells good.
You could always maybe double the other ingredients if you're worried to calm it down.
Yeah, maybe it'll be okay. And then just gonna put it on the stove. I'll give it a little stir in a minute. Let's see. Okay, we have a few minutes left on the chips, but this is what I do. Okay, so not only do I serve this queso to company when they come over, just like chips and, you know, salsa and the queso, but I also make like, you can use, I do like a lot of enchiladas. And so I just take the the corn tortilla, and I dip it both sides in some kind of salsa. And then I fill it with beans and maybe some sauteed vegetables. Like, actually, you don't even have to saute the vegetables. You could put like zucchini and onion and whatever kind of vegetables you want. Roll it up, put a little more salsa, bake them in the oven, maybe like 350 for like 15, 20 minutes. Take it out and put some queso on it. It's delicious. And it's fast. And I make that sometimes for company, like when people come over and I don't want to be standing in the kitchen cooking, you know, that's a good thing to do. So I do that. You can just do all kinds of things with this queso, but it's amazing.
Right. Dina says, are you worried about the salt in the pickled jalapenos?
You know, that's a good question. I've never, let me see what the salt content is. Sodium, it does have 310 milligrams. So that is a lot, but there's just, I don't put that
But how
many.
much is that? How much is the serving for 310 milligrams?
1 ounce, about 12 slices. So that may actually be, is that pretty high? That seems kind of high.
I don't know. I don't eat very much salt. The only product I still buy with salt is, because you were talking about making tortillas. We have a brand here well, it's not just in the desert. They had them in LA at Walmart too, called Guerreros, because they get lazy. And so you can get baked tostada shells, but it's very minimal sodium. I think 3 of them have like 220 milligrams of sodium.
Yeah.
I don't add any salt to my food. I don't mind doing that, but I think it just depends on the person,
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. And I'll be honest, like I'm like you, I don't really add a lot of salt to my food. I probably should pay more attention to the sodium content. But for me, that hasn't been a problem, like my blood pressure or anything like that. So I really haven't worried about it. Maybe I should. I don't know. But
I know. I think if it works for you, I think everybody's different on that. I mean, for some people, they're really salt sensitive with their blood pressure, or it maybe encourages overeating, and other people can have a little salt. I'm not real, for me, it's the fat. I mean, that is the big deal for me too. The fat.
Me too.
That's what I worry about the most.
Yeah, same here. And as a matter of fact, I just went to the doctor. Okay, so I went to the doctor, and I guess I've never been to this doctor before. I have to get a primary care physician because I have no doctor. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to try one out. And because of my age, I'm 52, she walks in like this. I've never met this lady before. Walks in, looking at my age, and she's like, okay, what are you here for? High cholesterol, you need a statin? Are you here because you have high blood pressure? Type 2 diabetes. I'm like, why would you just assume all that from my age? You haven't even looked up at me yet. And now, in her defense, I'm sure that's what she does all day. She probably gives people my age medication. But after I asked her to stop and look at my records and my health tests that I brought with me, she was like, okay, I apologize. She's like, actually, I just don't see anybody your age with blood pressure like yours, or, your thyroid, or she's like, your BMI, she's like, every number is, perfect. And I was telling her, my history about having heart disease and lowering my cholesterol through a plant-based diet. And I said that I want to go to a cardiologist and have them look inside my arteries and just make sure I've really reversed everything. I've been doing this since 2015. And even though I've lowered my cholesterol 100 points, I've changed the size and shape of my blood platelets, I've lost 20 pounds and easily kept it off all these years. Just want to make sure, want to look inside and make sure, because I had some pretty good clogged up arteries before. She's like, why don't you just take a statin? I'm like, I don't want to take a statin. I want to get to the root of the problem. And that's what I've been doing. And so after she looked at all my numbers, she was like, okay, it's working for you, because, that's good.
That's fantastic. Well, we do have a question about your hair from Dina.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Well, it's beautiful. What is your hair regimen?
Gosh, that's so funny. I use the least fancy hair products you can imagine. I just use regular shampoo. I use the Aussie conditioner because it's a detangler. And then I use like the cheapest. I've used every kind of hair care products you can imagine, all high end. The best ones that work for me are like the $4 grocery store brand. And I think it's also Aussie. And what I do is after I comb it out, after I get out of the shower, I turn my head upside down, I put my hair gel in, and then I do like this. Instead of scrunching my hair, let me get away from my food. I go like this and just make ringlets, and then I blow it dry with a diffuser.
Cool.
That's what I do. Okay, the queso's ready, so you can see what it looks like. It's all bubbly and delicious. Can you see that?
It looks so good. It looks so real.
so good. So that's the queso, super easy. And let's see if the chips are ready. Chips are going to be ready in 20 seconds. So let's see if they're ready. Okay, I have burned myself so many times. Do you have all these burns going up your arm, Chef
Yeah,
AJ?
and you know what I do now is I have this little pull tool I have that makes it so I don't burn myself anymore. It's a little.
So what do you use?
It's I just showed it on some of my YouTubes. It's an oven pull. If there's maybe you could run it. It's just very cute. It's just this little oven pull, and I don't do that anymore. But yeah, I have my yes. As a matter of fact, look, hello, still have scars.
Oh yeah,
right here. Yep.
You have it's still fresh looking. Is that
yeah? So I still do it because I couldn't find my oven pull. But yes, safety
Let me.
first.
I'm going to put my nasty oven mitt away and get out my cute one. But yeah, so now I get my oven mitt out. Okay, these are perfect. They're crunchy. Can you hear that?
Oh man, those are the best.
Crunchy, crunchy, delicious. Let's see how hot this is. Not bad. Ooh, it's actually good.
It's so good when the cheese sauce is hot, isn't it?
I think that I might start putting cayenne pepper in that. That came out like a nice little accident. Take these out.
There's no accidents in the kitchen. They always say,
I know.
It's not what you can make, it's what you can fix.
I love that. You're absolutely right. Okay, so that was pretty easy, right? I mean, just took a few minutes. Super simple.
Dina was saying maybe you could rinse the jalapenos to get some of the salt off and still have.
Yeah, you know what? That's true. I just never even worried about it or thought about it.
But it's over a big serving too. You're not eating that whole serving yourself. It's in the whole.
That's true.
Recipe. So even if it is 300 milligrams, it's unless you're eating the whole thing. But yeah, I wouldn't worry.
Yeah,
unless it's.
I rarely eat the whole thing. Well, maybe over several days. But
right.
You know what else I do? I make a taco salad. So I'll do just lettuce and all kinds of vegetables and arugula. And then I do beans. And then I'll crunch up some of those corn tortillas in it and do a little squeeze of lime over it and then some queso and some salsa. And it makes such a good, gigantic salad. I love that. Any more questions about
No, not about that. And you just refrigerate any unused portion and then reheat it the next day?
Exactly. And honestly, sometimes I just eat it cold out of the fridge because it's so good. So just like that. Okay. All right. My next trick, I'm going to make Elephant's favorite peanut sauce. So this gigantic, did I get this on Amazon? Yeah, I think I got it on Amazon. Naked peanut butter. I was using a different brand, but it had some sugar in it. I couldn't find one without sugar. So I finally found this one and it has no sugar in it. So naked peanut butter, I got it on Amazon. Let's see.
That is a big jar.
It's big. This should last me for the rest of my life. I just kind of didn't realize how big it was when I bought it. Not that that would have made a difference. I need a bowl. Sorry. Yeah, it's huge. And okay, so I either make this as a peanut dressing for salads or I make it as a peanut sauce. And the only difference is in my sauce that I use to throw over like brown rice noodles and vegetables. Is that I put garlic if it's in the sauce and I omit it if it's in the dressing. And that's just a preference. I'm going to start heating up the water for my rice noodles. Okay, so I'm going to make, so in the show, I guess they're in the show notes, right? The recipes.
The recipes are in the show notes. If you're watching on Facebook, you'll have to jump over to YouTube to see the show notes. They're right below the video.
Okay, so in the show notes, I think I did it for just the dressing, a 1/3 cup of peanut butter powder, 1/4 cup of water, etc. So I'm actually going to triple this because when I make the sauce, I need a bigger amount for, to cover up the vegetables and the brown rice noodles. So normally for The dressing, I would just use a third cup of peanut butter powder, but I'm going to use a full cup. And I'm going to take some out and, save it for dressing, and also make my husband eat this too. So, and this will last me days. Like, I make a big pot and I love leftovers. I'll eat them. Do you like leftovers?
I love leftovers, sometimes even more than the original dish.
Me too. My husband's really weird about leftovers because he grew up in a family of 7 boys. And as you can imagine, well, I don't even know if they had leftovers, but when they did, it was like probably not the fanciest food. And it was like cold hot dogs night after night. So he's really snubs his nose at the leftovers, but man, I love them.
That's funny. A friend of mine cooks for a famous person, and he is not allowed to ever serve leftovers.
Oh, seriously?
Like, ever. It's like, yeah.
That's so ridiculous. You think that person's just being like that because they can?
I don't know. Maybe some people just have a greater need for variety, but if I like something, I like it over and over. So
I know. I'm the same way. I'll eat the same thing for like 3 meals in a row. I don't care.
Yep.
I'll just keep eating it.
Other than the fact that your husband doesn't like repetition, does he like your food, and does he basically eat like you?
He does not like my food. He does not eat like me.
Yet you make it work.
I do make it work. And actually, he's gotten a lot better. So I've actually developed this course, and it's called ACE Plant-Based Eating. A stands for amend the recipe, C is cook without oil, and E is eat on the go. And one of the things I cover in there is if you have to cook for somebody who doesn't eat like you do, or if all of a sudden you're doing the cooking because the person who usually cooks for you doesn't support this new way of eating. And so a lot of it is just taken from my real life. Like, I'll make something, and then I used to throw rotisserie chicken on it or do something for him, but I don't even do that anymore. I won't buy chicken or any, meat products. I do let him have, not that I let him, he has dairy. He has made his own decision not to eat like chicken or fish anymore. Sometimes he'll eat fish, but I mean, that's a big deal. Like, when people are in the same household and one person either doesn't want to eat that way and you have to cook for them, like how do you make that work? And so, I figured out some tricks. Like, a lot of time, like, I'll make a pizza and I make it like out of a sprouted whole grain thing, and like an Ezekiel tortilla, and I do like a fat-free marinara on it, and I do a bunch of vegetables, and then on his I'll do like a little shredded mozzarella, real mozzarella. So, I find a way to make it work. Actually, this morning he called it diet food. I was like, this is not diet food. Just open up your mouth and chew it. This is delicious food. So I don't know. I wish he ate the way I ate, but.
Oh boy, what's his resistance? Has he not seen any of the films? He has no health problems?
He has seen the films. His resistance is, he says he's always hungry if he eats like this. Well, I'm hungry often too, but the good part is
maybe he needs more fat.
Yeah, you know what? You're right about that. And I've offered that up, like avocados and cashews. He does like some things, like I'll make him a lasagna with cashew cheese and things like that. And he does like that. So you're right. Maybe I should try to be better about tempting him up with more fatty food. That's a really good idea. We'll see if it works. But yeah, he says he's always hungry and doesn't want to eat like this, but I think that he's come around to it a little more. I don't know.
Are you still doing any stand-up? And talk about this stand-up you did in the past. I would love to see your stand-up.
Oh my gosh. I am not doing any stand-up. I haven't done any in quite some time. But I did for like 5 years do stand-up. It was something I always wanted to do. When I was a kid, we went to Kutcher's in the Borscht Belt, and that was where all the Jews used to go and vacation back in the day. And my parents were like, if I went with them, I went in the nightclub. Like, I just went wherever they went. And I remember seeing like Buddy Hackett and Robert Klein and oh my God, what was his name? David Brenner, and like all these great comedians in the 70s when I was like a really little kid. And I just remember looking around in the nightclub and looking at all these people dressed up and they're laughing and somebody's making them laugh. And I'm like, that's for me. That's what I want to do when I grow up. But I didn't get the courage to do it until I was about 35 years old. And so I started doing that and had some success. I was on Roseanne Barr's Funniest Mom in America. I was in the semifinals for that. So I made it out of quite a lot of people to that. I was the funniest mom in Austin at one point, which probably isn't that hard to do. But so.
Are any of your bits on YouTube? Is there any way to see any of your comedy?
They're not, because I stopped doing it in 2007, which is right when like the smartphones came out. So I really don't have any stand-up on, I don't know, I'm sure I could find something like on a CD, but I really don't have anything. But it was fun. And then after a while, I guess it just was like kind of exhausting, going to the clubs every night and trying out new material. And I had little kids at the time, as and well, I've seen you do it recently.
Yeah, I do it for free on Zoom, and then I put it up on my YouTube channel. What were your bits about? Like, did you have a particular topic that you like to talk about?
I worked a little blue, as they say. I mean, my first joke out of the gate, I think, was a vibrator joke. So not for the family. But I also had like a lot of things about kids and, I don't know, just simple things, going to the grocery store. I did a lot of things like that. When I got on the semifinals for Roseanne Barr, Funniest Mom in America, or whatever it's called, I had to make like a completely clean routine because it was on Nick at Night. And so I had to like go back to the clubs, really start with fresh material. I did a lot of stuff about like taking your kid to Disney World and things like that. But yeah, it was fun. It is probably more challenging to do really clean comedy because you're just, but it's better. It's probably smarter, but it was a thrill. It was like nothing else. And it finally just, like I said, it became, it went from something I really wanted to do to something I did, something I kind of did well at, to something I was like, all right, this is a pain now. So it's kind of, but I do a lot of talks for people and it's kind of the same thing. You're, maybe not like joke, but you're trying to be engaging and entertaining. So I get my fill that way.
Nice.
So, okay. So I did the peanut butter powder. I did the water. I'm going to do 3 tablespoons of rice vinegar. 3 tablespoons of Bragg liquid aminos. This is kind of just for those of you who don't know, it's kind of like soy sauce or tamari, but a healthier version. And then instead of tripling the amount of maple syrup, I really just stick to the original amount, a tablespoon, that's plenty. I don't want to make it too sweet. And I'm not going to put and a big fat squirt of sriracha because I love it spicy.
You're one of the spice girls, huh?
I'm a spicy girl.
Yeah, and what's nice, Well Your World sells a salt-free sriracha.
Oh, you know what? I've been meaning to try his products.
Very good.
Yeah. What else? They have barbecue sauce, ketchup.
Yeah,
what else?
Sriracha is my favorite.
Okay, I'm gonna try
I love
that.
this little squeezy bottle. You can make little lines.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, I'm definitely gonna do that because it's been on my radar to try that. Okay, so I've really made the sauce. I'm making it without the garlic. I'm gonna put the garlic in. Okay, let me boil my rice noodles. Okay, these are the brown rice noodles I like to use. I don't know what the Lotus Foods. So they're really good, brown rice noodles, nice whole grain. For this, I'm probably just gonna use like a 1/4 to a 1/2 of the bag. And just, if you don't eat things like brown rice noodles and whole grains, just stop being afraid of carbs. I'm just so overwhelmed by the amount of my friends who are getting sick, and they're all doing these crazy low-fat carb diets with the meat and the dairy, and just stop and eat the carbs. They're not going to make you fat. They're actually going to make you skinny, if that's your goal. Actually might put some more in there. Yeah, just don't be afraid of carbs. As long as they're the good kind, whole grains, and don't be afraid of potatoes, and just don't be afraid of, you know, brown rice and quinoa and oatmeal and all those good things. They're so good for you. Okay, again, let me set my timer for my noodles. They cook really fast. Okay, so I'm going to cut up some veggies now. I wash all my veggies ahead of time so that they're all clean and ready to go. I sometimes do this. I store them in a clean dish towel. My husband says that I am insane about my dish towels, that I have too many rules about them, but I like my dish towels clean because I put my produce in them. I don't want to get like dog hair in them. I don't want him like wiping his face in them. So that's what you call too many rules. Then I guess I have too many rules. So I'm cutting up some bok choy. Bok choy is a really good, healthy vegetable. I believe it's in the cruciferous family. It's really good for you. Some green onion. And I always keep like I have like a little compost garbage can. I keep that close by when I'm working with vegetables. Just giving a really rough chop to the green onion. What else? I'll put some broccoli. Just try to use as many different kinds of vegetables as I can.
How old are your kids, and do they eat it all like you?
My kids are, I don't even want to tell you, they are so old. I have a 28-year-old daughter, a 27-year-old daughter, and a 21-year-old son. And my son eats this way. Some fat, but went completely plant-based when I did. And my oldest daughter, I would say, is kind of mostly vegetarian. And then my middle daughter would eat your face. She'll eat anything, but we're working on her. And she told me she's getting better. She's starting to have like guilt when she eats cows or whatever. So I've been working on her, and hopefully she'll come around. But yeah, my youngest is really the one who's the most on board.
Do they live near you?
My one daughter lives down the street from me, and my youngest lives very close to me, and my middle daughter lives in New Zealand. Last time I was on the show, she was in Amsterdam. She's like a little world traveler.
You know, those middle children, they're
those middle ones.
child. Yep.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry, go ahead. Because
I was just going to say, you do them wrong because they're the middle child, and then they move away from you. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Dina
says, what cookbooks do you normally use when you're making meals?
Oh, that's a good question. I use a lot of, actually, they're right here because I'm going to move my computer in a minute, but these are my favorite cookbooks. Mostly I Can Cook Vegan by Isa Chandra Moskowitz. I do the Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease cookbook by Jane and Ann Esselstyn. Casa de Luz cookbook, Forks Over Knives, and Perfectly Plant-Based. This is the Plant-Based Nutrition Support Group cookbook.
I haven't used this Lauren, I didn't know Casa de Luz had a cookbook. Do you think you could introduce me to somebody from there? Maybe I could have them on the show.
Yeah, that's a great idea. They do. I'm going to tell you the funny thing about their cookbook is it's one of those cookbooks where it's never right. And they have so many, but you can tweak it and make it really good. But yeah, I'll totally do that. So my favorite is Isa Chandra Moskowitz. And Dina, you can Google post-punk kitchen, and that's her. She has free recipes on there. I was just in Brooklyn, and she has a vegan restaurant called Modern Love in Brooklyn, and it was amazing. She's my favorite cookbook author.
A couple of people are saying you threw out the best part of the broccoli.
Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry guys. There you go.
That's so funny. I love the stems.
You do?
I do. The florets are a little mushy, but I like them both. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for keeping me honest, guys. I did some zucchini. I'm gonna do some orange pepper. That's so funny. You know, when I knew I was going to be on your show, I went back to see like what I wore the last time because I didn't want to wear the same thing. And I saw this comment like, this girl needs to put her hair up when she cooks. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I just want everybody to know I'm aware of that. If I was cooking for you, I'd put my hair up, but I want to be cute for Chef AJ. So I was cracking up that somebody said that. Okay, my rice noodles are done. Everybody's got an eye on me, watching me throw away the good part. And you guys are right. I need to eat my stems. Okay, now let's see what else. Let me rinse these. I'm gonna grate up a little carrot. I get these purple carrots in my CSA box. They are so good, but they turn made like a matzo ball soup, and I put these purple carrots in and it turned the broth purple. So don't do that. It's really unattractive. Makes it disgusting. I guess I don't have to shred that. Why am I shredding that? I could just chop it.
Do you do any
just
kind
trying
of
to get in all the colors? I'm sorry?
Oh, do you do any kind of batch cooking, Lauren?
I do. One thing I teach my followers is I make a meal called home base. I call it my main meal. And so when I don't know what I'm going to eat, instead of standing in the refrigerator and staring in there and hoping something will magically appear, I have this at the ready. And it's, I cook like probably enough for 5 nights because I'll eat it, like we said, for lunch and for dinner. So I either do like a giant thing of brown rice or quinoa. I'll cook a big pot of beans. I'll cook up some tempeh or tofu. I don't cook my vegetables ahead of time because I like them crisp. And I do like kale and all these kind of vegetables pretty much at every meal. But I do that. And then I do a sauce on them. I don't usually, like, I don't want to do a fatty sauce, like a seed sauce. That'll save for like when I have company over or once in a while. But I just do different things in my bowl. So this bowl can be different every time you eat it. The main meals, like one night you can have brown rice and black beans and bok choy and sweet potato, or some tempeh or some tofu, and you can put like some sriracha on the rice and some balsamic vinegar on your greens. That's a thing that Dr. Esselstyn always talks about, to get your greens with your balsamic because it helps you make nitric oxide. And then sometimes I'll put like some salsa on the beans, or I'll put some Bragg liquid amino on the rice. So it's always different because you can make a different kind of bean, you can make like a different whole grain. But the point is, you always want to have that at the ready, because if it's there, that's what you're going to eat. You're not going to be like, okay, maybe, well, I don't keep potato chips in my house, but back in the day, I'd be just like standing there eating potato chips, like, what am I going to eat? And so instead of doing that, I know what I'm going to eat. It's ready. It's in my refrigerator at all times. So yeah, I'm always batch cooking a whole grain and a rice and a bean, some kind of legume, lentils. Love lentils.
Just so you know, Mandy says, tell her we think she's great and she can do what she likes. And Apple says, yeah, your kitchen, your rules. Some people are too much in other people's business. So
thank you.
But there's a question, if when you do cook the broccoli stems, do you peel them? I personally don't. I just chop them finely. But usually I buy my broccoli like in big bags that are just florets. It's not, I mean, I do because it's already washed and I can just steam it. So
yes. I've never even heard of peeling your broccoli stem. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I normally do a lot of frozen broccoli just because it's ready. It's like you said, it's, there, you can cook it quickly. So yeah. And thanks for the support, guys. I appreciate that. I'm going to move you over here to my cookbook.
I have a tough audience, especially if Linda Middlesworth's watching. She's like,
oh my gosh.
I use oil.
That's so funny.
I know.
Like, you know what? I understand. I'm okay with that.
You've done stand-up. You can handle it. That's
exactly. I've had two people, drunk at 2 a.m. yelling, "You suck!" So
yeah. So
bring it on. It's fine.
That's so funny.
I mean, I prefer that not happen, but.
Do you have a favorite meal, like an all-time favorite meal?
Yes, and it's also out of the Isa Chandra I Can Cook Vegan. It's portobello brisket bowl. And actually, I have some leftover. Right now, I'm just heating up my pan. I'm getting it nice and hot. It doesn't look attractive, especially my mom would yell at me for having this small of leftover in a giant bowl. Sorry, Mom. But this is like the broth. So it's like a old-fashioned, Jewishy kind of brisket, except without all the, dead carcass and Lipton onion soup mix. But it has like, so you do a big thing of like kale on the bottom, steamed kale, and I put my vinegar over it. And then you do a layer of mashed potatoes. And my mashed potatoes are just boiled potatoes. I mash them with the, blender, immersion blender. I put a little bit of oat milk in them, and that's really it. Put a layer of that. Then you put this sauce, and it has fennel, and it has lentils, and it has caraway seeds, and shallots, and diced or crushed tomatoes. It's so good. And then you put a portobello mushroom in the oven, and that's the topper. And so it is so good. When we were talking about leftovers, I was thinking of that because I've probably eaten that 6 meals in a row. So good. Amazing.
I'm Googling it. I think the recipe is online.
Is it?
Yeah, I found it at the Jewish News. I'm going to post it in the chat.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. Because I haven't found it. That's not on her post-punk kitchen, but I guess somebody.
I actually found it on a blog called Jewish News. So I'm going to post it in the chat, guys. But remember, you got to be on YouTube to see the chat.
Funny. Okay, so I'm just pouring all my. Oh, I had onions too. But okay, I'm just putting all my vegetables in this hot pan. I didn't put any liquid in it. I'm just going to stir it around and get it going first.
So you said a lot of your friends are doing the dangerous keto diet. Why? Is it because they think they're going to reverse a disease? Are they trying to lose weight? And why don't they just look at how beautiful and healthy you look and do what you tell them?
Oh, you're so sweet. I think it's to lose weight. And the thing is, because of our age, just in the last month, I've had like 5, some were acquaintances and some were friends, come down with some really nasty things, mostly in their colon, like 2 people with colorectal cancer, 1 with another kind of cancer, 1 with like type 1.5 diabetes. And these people were all on a very low carb diet, eating meat. I mean, these people are like, the bone broth and the no beans, and it makes me insane. And I'm not the kind of person who wants to get in everybody's business. I mean, my friends know how I eat. I've sometimes gently said, like, if you ever want to change the way you're eating, it's really the older you get, like the more conscientious you have to be about how you eat. And it's really, I know you feel like you're doing a good, healthy diet, but it's not. You have to have fruits and vegetables and legumes and whole grains. I've had friends tell me they can't eat, soy because they've had cancer, breast cancer, and that's actually the opposite of what you should be doing. The soy, and I mean whole soy, I don't mean like pretend chicken nuggets with soy isolates. I mean organic tofu, organic tempeh, miso, natto, organic edamame. Just all these things they're filled with phytoestrogens, which are different than regular estrogens. They give you protection from cancer. So, I have told my friends, I tell them gently, but I'm not one to be really preachy about something. Okay, look how nice and everything's starting to get colorful. I have nothing in this pot. I'm just gonna put like a tiny bit of vegetable broth to help it cook along. And then also it kind of deglazes the pot. So if you have like a little sticky brown patch, now look at it. So if you have like a little sticky brown patch, that's what I was kind of going for. I like that little sticky brown patch because then you throw some vegetable broth over and it's giving me a facial and a cooking. It's what it calls deglaze the pan. So it takes that yummy brown and it puts it into the broth and it makes it just delicious. So I don't like to overcook anything, my vegetables, because they also kind of keep cooking. So I like them nice and bright, but because I have broccoli and broccoli stems in there, I'm going to just cover the pot and let it sit a second. What else? I don't think I have anything else going on. Nope, I got my brown rice noodles over here. I'm just gonna give them a little rinse so that they don't get all sticky. And this is even something I would put tofu in. I like to cook my tofu in my air fryer. I actually get a clean dish towel and I free my tofu out of the wrapper and I squish it in this clean dish towel, get all the liquid out, and then chop it up into bite-sized pieces. I put a little bit of coconut amino on them, stir it around, put it in my air fryer for like 15 minutes. And then but I didn't do that, mostly because my air fryer is so noisy. But anyway.
Which air fryer do you have?
I have a really old one. It's a Philips, and it's kind of small. My husband bought it for me about 6 years ago when I went plant-based in 2015. And I love it. I probably use it every single day. I know it probably isn't the healthiest thing to brown your food like that, but I love it. Make French fries in it almost every day.
It's the best. Well, even though your husband doesn't eat like you, it sounds like he's pretty supportive.
He's so supportive. If I gave any indication he wasn't, this poor man on a vacation, all he does is look for places I can eat. And he goes to the ends of the earth and he's incredibly supportive.
That's great.
Oh, I forgot to put garlic.
Oh, you can't forget that.
And also peas. I had some peas.
It's just so beautiful from every angle.
Thank you.
It's gorgeous.
I love this kitchen.
You know what? You might have said it last time you were on the show, but not everybody saw that episode. People love to know what a day's worth of eating looks like for our vibrant, healthy guests.
Oh,
that have reversed their heart disease. Yeah.
Okay, I'm doing my garlic in here. I sometimes don't eat breakfast because I don't know. Sometimes I'm not in the mood for it. I love lunch. So I'll eat lunch at like 10:30 in the morning. But sometimes I do eat breakfast. I try to because I know it's so good. I like to get my oatmeal in and I just do oatmeal and flaxseed and chia seeds and berries and oat milk and all that good stuff. And then, or if I'm not in the mood for breakfast, I just move. I'll sometimes eat just fruit for breakfast. Okay, look, can you see how pretty that is? Now I'm just gonna, hang on. Throw my rice noodles in there. I'm gonna throw my peanut sauce in there.
You know what? Have you ever tried the heart of palm noodles? I love those.
Heart of palm?
They have like no calories. It's like vegetables, but they make every shape. So they make linguine, they make lasagna shaped noodles, and it's just made out of hearts of palm. You can get them at Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Sprouts.
Okay, that's where I was.
They don't even need any cooking.
Seriously, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
That's amazing. I have never heard of that. Hearts of palm. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. So then for lunch, first of all, I try to do 6 times a day, eat my greens, like a fistful of steamed greens. So even if I don't have breakfast, I'll usually have like some steamed kale or spinach with a tiny little sprinkle of balsamic on it.
What's your favorite balsamic? Have you ever tried? Well, of course you've tried California.
Yes, I have. I've tried the ones that you sent me from California. What's it called? California
balsamic.
So good. I love that. I got the, I have, what is it? Like, I have to get it out of my closet because it's so good. I forgot this. Oh, the 7 Italian and the teriyaki. Oh my gosh, they are amazing. So I do love those. I kind of just get the ones that I can get easily at the grocery store, but I get the kind of thick ones. Okay, hold on. I'm moving you back. I'm moving you back over here. Okay. Wait, I'll tell you what I eat in 1 second. Let me just garnish this because I can't apparently talk and garnish at the same time. This is, I'm just gonna put, okay, so can you see it? It's sloppy. Okay.
That looks like a restaurant meal.
It's so good. So I'm gonna just put a little bit of cilantro, and I cut it stems and all, just cut it up like that. The stems have good flavor. I'm gonna put a little basil, grew that in my garden, a little basil. I'm gonna put a little, oh, have you seen this girl on TikTok and YouTube? She tells you to cut a little bit of this off and you'll get more juice out of your lemons and limes. And I used to babysit that little girl. She's now like a 40-year-old woman. But anyway,
that's funny.
I know, right? Okay, so that's my meal. How good that is.
That's delicious and satisfying looking.
It's so good. So let me just quickly tell you what I eat. So breakfast, the oatmeal. Lunch, I'll either do like a giant salad with beans in it. And my favorite salad dressing is out of the Engine 2 cookbook. It's just called Basic Dressing. And it has Worcestershire and a little, I use an orange and, it has all this good stuff, some nutritional yeast. I do a big salad and sometimes I just make some French fries in my air fryer, like I was talking about. I love potatoes. I love French fries. If I have leftovers, I'll eat leftovers. Lately, I've been so digging this. I make a sandwich on Ezekiel, light line tempeh. It's smoky bacon. It doesn't have any oil in it. And I just fry it up and I have like a scan pan. So I could do an oil-free, you don't use any oil in the pan, and I make like a BLT in it with my Ezekiel bread, or I like mustard and sauerkraut on it. Sometimes some pickled jalapenos with sodium. And again, I'll eat a big salad and some greens with that. For dinner, I'll make, tacos or pizza or black bean burgers or, something like this, or I make the portobello brisket bowl. Sometimes I make like a big thing of soup, not in the summer, generally. Rice and beans, I do my main meal. Rice, beans, greens, vegetables, sweet potatoes, tempeh, all that good stuff. That's generally what I eat. But like I said, with everything, I try to eat a lot of greens and a lot of vegetables. So that's about it.
Just not the stems.
Just not the stems. But now I'm going to try to, I promise you, every time I eat broccoli, I'm going to eat stems. Oh, another thing I make is like a sticky pineapple cauliflower. And I will eat almost a whole thing of cauliflower in one sitting. So good.
Well, that sounds good. Sticky pineapple cauliflower. That's an entree, huh?
It's so good. Yeah.
It's funny because when you buy broccoli slaw at the store, that is the stems, because most people, like you say, prefer the florets. They're more tender. And so they don't want to throw away the stems. So they shred it for broccoli slaw.
And then I buy the stems that I've just thrown away. You're right.
So you can just shred your own.
My gosh.
That is great. Oh,
So
sticky
fun.
pineapple cauliflower. Is that recipe on your blog, or maybe you'll have to
It's
come back
not
and make it?
my, it's not my recipe. I think it's chocolate covered Katie. And I think it had some oil and I just omit it, but I feel like it's chocolate covered Katie, but you can just Google sticky pineapple cauliflower and it's so good.
I'll Google it right now while you tell us
Google.
how we can support you and follow you and where do you want to send people and stuff like that.
Thank you. Well, of course, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook, but if you want to go to my website, to wellelephant.com, you can download a free 3-day meal plan and grocery list, and then you'll be added to my email list. And I send out lots of recipes, funny little, entertaining little stories and but yeah, a lot of recipes and a lot of how to stick to this way of eating. And soon I'll give you information. I'm going to give you a discount if you want to do the ACE plant-based eating course. Again, it's amend the recipe, cook without oil, eat on the go. Because to me, I feel like I made it really simple. I just boiled it down to those really easy steps. And I'm going to charge $139 for the course, but I'm going to give a discount to everybody who's on my email list, and it'll only be $39. And it's such an easy class because I tried to make it simple. I think sometimes people try to make things complicated because they want to feel like they've, birthed this whole thing. But I feel like I just want to make things easy for everybody. So just go to wellelephant.com.
Great. And any social media sites we should look for you at?
Instagram and Facebook.
And I have those in the show notes. And I found the sticky pineapple cauliflower recipe. And as soon as my computer stops circling, I will post that in the chat as well for everyone.
It's easy and delicious. Right. And I actually use instead of, it says like pineapple juice, I think, and I just get like a can of crushed pineapple and I use that instead of the juice. It's actually better in that recipe.
You have such great recipe suggestions. Well, thank you so much. It was great. The portobello mushroom recipe I also posted in the chat, Sandra. So just
good.
You have to see YouTube for the chat. So great. And I'll post that in the show notes as well. Well, thanks so much for connecting with you again. You ever think you might want to get back into stand-up? I do classes every week. I don't teach them, but I take them. And actually some of the people in the Zoommunity have joined and they're taking it too. And they have.
You were great. I'm not, I don't think I will. But I admire you for still doing it. And I also want to tell you, I remember when you did the Tonight Show. I remember watching that as a kid. You have such good timing. You're hysterical. I adore you. And I have to be honest, the last time I was on your show, I didn't really know who you were. But after I met you on the show, I was like, I love her. And I went and I binged watched every good video of yours, all the major ones. I paid for, not got from the library, paid for both or your books. I make those bagel potatoes all the time. Love them. So love all your recipes.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Now I'm a big fan.
Oh, and right back at you. And I'm booking for January if you want to come back. And there's nothing wrong with making other people's recipes as long as you give them credit. So maybe you can make the 2 recipes you mentioned today, but show people how you make them your own and make them without oil.
Yep. Absolutely.
That sounds like a great menu for January. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
Thanks,
it's so funny when I was announcing you yesterday, I was saying, well, elephant. And it was so funny because I was making it sound like an elephant was going to be the guest on the show, but you're definitely not an elephant. Your company is Well Elephant.
Well Elephant. Thank you.
Having Well Elephant on the show, and people thought it's going to be nice to have an elephant on the show. And I'm having a nonprofit on again that helps those elephants that are working. And it's just so sad what goes on in some of those countries.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely support that.
Yep, they're great. They're a wonderful nonprofit organization. They just contacted me to please come back. So, and you guys, please come back in 2 hours when we have our monthly feature of Dr. Doug Lyle and Dr. Jen Hawk. Lots of questions have been submitted, so please get on the mailing list so that your questions can get bumped to the top. Thanks again, Lauren.
Thank you. Bye, Chef AJ.
Bye.